Hey everyone, today we're going to be checking out the 4x2 tank carry-on roller bag. And it feels like there's been some really interesting luggages coming out as of late, and many of them check off the same boxes as far as offering a solid build quality, reliable wheels, and telescoping handles. And so I'm always on the lookout for some of the more unique features that kind of help separate out the various options, and that's where 4x2 caught my eyes. It had a couple of things that I hadn't really tried out in some of the other roller bags that I've been using, and in this video I'm going to be talking about what it's been like to test it over the past couple of weeks. I'll show you how I've loaded it out, walk through all the features, and I'll also talk about how it compares to some of the other similar bags that are currently on the market. Starting off with the overall aesthetic, to me this feels somewhat similar to many of the other modern hardshell rollers, so I think that it's a style that's going to work well for all types of travel. I do like that this has this sort of wavy texture on the front to just make it feel a little bit different, and it's also offered in a couple of different colors if you prefer something other than black. As far as the materials, this feels really solidly built. The exterior is a polycarbonate shell that feels like it's going to hold up well to the rigors of travel. Definitely something I'd be comfortable tossing around. As with other hardshell rollers, I imagine this will start to develop scuffs and scratches and things like that, but it definitely feels solid. And then you also just have really great feeling components all throughout, smooth working zippers on the side, and at the top you have these nice handles that kind of expand out to make it easy to grab them, and then they collapse in against the roller bag when they're not in use to maintain a cleaner look. I like that you do have a slot at the bottom as well that you can pair with the top handle to just make it a little bit easier to get this into an overhead storage area. And the wheels on this one are one of the most interesting aspects to me. Wheels on any roller bag are one of the most important things I consider because you want something that's going to be smooth, reliable, and I really like the style here. These are kind of like skateboard wheels, so they feel very rugged. They also have some great bearings here, so you can see just how quickly the wheels spin. I haven't had any issues rolling these on a variety of surfaces. They also seem to have some good shock absorption here, and I've been able to push this next to me very comfortably, roll it around in any direction, and I haven't had any issues, which is great to see. I also like that the wheels don't extend too far under the suitcase, so it doesn't take up a ton of the height, which has been the case with some of the other options that I've seen out on the market. So I think that they struck a good balance here, and big fan of the wheels so far. And moving into the telescoping handle, which is another one of the unique aspects about this bag, it does have a couple of different heights that you can pull it up to, and it's worked reliably. I like the flexibility that it provides. It locks into place. And then the shape here is interesting because you're gonna have a couple of cup holders, so you could rest water bottle. 4x2 actually sent one of their insulated bottles for me to test out. This looks great, fits perfectly into the handle, and depending on the size of the bottle that you're using, looks like you can maybe store one or two, and you might want to leave a little bit of space. I imagine if you have two things here, it might be trickier to grab the handle, but for the one bottle that I typically have, that's really convenient. Or when I'm traveling, I like to grab a coffee, and so that just rests there comfortably. And then you also have the ability to hang a bag or a purse here. You can just turn this and it creates this little spot where you can hang that, which is really important because one thing that I noticed about the shape of this is that because it doesn't collapse or anything, it's gonna be tough to use this with traditional luggage pass-throughs on many of the backpacks that I have. It's just not gonna be able to easily slide over this. So there might be some workarounds, but just something that I noticed. And then another cool thing here is you have these slots that will allow you to rest a phone or a tablet so that you can watch something while you're at the airport, or if you're gonna be charging it with the port that you can access from the exterior. So I'll take a look here at the integrated lock and USB port. And you can just kind of pull this tab out and you have USB-C and USB-A connection ports, so that's great to have some flexibility. And there is a cable, which we'll take a look at in a second, which is connected to a portable battery on the inside. That's not included with the bag, but you can pick whichever one is going to work best for you and the restrictions of the airline that you're flying on. And then you have a combination lock that's TSA approved, built in, which I'm always a fan of so that I don't have to worry about a separate lock when I'm traveling. Moving into the capacity, the company offers a couple of different sized luggages. The one that I have here comes in at about 34 liters, so it's a really great carry-on friendly size, a little bit smaller than some of the other roller bags that I've been testing as of late, which come in at around 40 to 41 liters. And so this one is gonna be nice if you're a little more worried about some of the stricter airlines as far as the sizing. And so you do have the ability to also expand it out. It goes up to about 42 liters, so you can still get quite a bit of space, but even compressed down, it's able to hold all the items that I would normally have with me for a 1 to 2 week trip that I would typically put into a carry-on suitcase. And so still a nice capacity, something that you can store in an overhead storage compartment comfortably. The weight on this is gonna come in at around 8 pounds, which I've seen many other hard shell rollers in this category that are also in that range. I know that that's gonna be something that many people won't be as crazy about, particularly when there's, strict weight limits on many airlines. You're losing a lot of that limit to the luggage, so something to consider. It's not something that I normally worry too much about. I care more about the sizing, but I did want to mention it. And then jumping into the organizational options, you have one primary opening. So this is a front loading bag. Reminds me of a clamshell style travel backpack. And so you have this button to release the locked zipper pulls, and then the zippers go all the way down. And you do have some flexibility with how you can kind of lay this out. It has these zippered gussets, and when you have these closed, it will prevent this front section from opening all the way, which can be really helpful if you're using this in transit to have the luggage next to you. You can unzip this, have it open up a little bit so that you can reach in and grab your laptop and other accessories. But I like that you can actually release that so that you can fully take advantage of the front loading style and be able to load your bag out pretty easily. But before I dive into that storage area, I'll talk a little bit about some of the tech organization that's been provided here. And so on the lid, you have a couple of zippered pockets that have a mesh so you can see what's on the inside. These offer a nice amount of volume. I was actually impressed that they were able to handle things like my USB-C hub along with its charging cable, so you can imagine another laptop charger fitting in there pretty comfortably. I also have my sunglasses with their case here in this top compartment, which fit in there pretty well. And on the other side, you have, first up, you can see the charging cable that's paired with the port on the outside. So this is my, Ridge portable battery that I've been using for a while now, but you can use any battery that's going to be compatible with a USB-A. And so I don't know if this slot was intentionally designed for that, but it was just a good, easy fit for it. You could use this to store maybe other cables or tech accessories. And then you have padded tablet and laptop sleeves, and you have this Velcro strap to prevent them from falling out accidentally. More than enough space for my iPad mini. You could probably put a larger tablet here, and then this could easily hold my 14-inch MacBook Pro. Probably a 15-inch laptop would fit in here comfortably. And it does feel like there's some padding here, and like your device will be protected, easy to access. I'm never crazy about transporting my laptop in these types of compartments, particularly when I really pack the bag out, as I'm always worried that I'm gonna put a lot of pressure on it. And so that'll all really come down to how you prefer to organize, and if you're traveling with another laptop-friendly backpack or shoulder bag or something like that. But still nice to have them if you wanna use them. And then to get into the primary storage, you'll have these zippers that allow you to access the next section of the bag, so to speak. And you have this rigid divider here that you can use to separate things out, to either create a separation with this compartment or you can place it in the middle. And so I just kind of left it at the top, and I like that you can fully remove this if you prefer not to use it. There's also a laundry bag included here, which is really nice. And so taking that out, you can get a better sense of the actual space here in the main compartment. Again, like a travel backpack, you can just kind of load it from the top. And here I have my typical loadout with my extra pair of Toms in a packing cube. I have my Air Dot kit. I have a Peak Design packing cube here, a small one. Then I have my compressible packing cube here, as well as another larger packing cube. And so very cool to see both of those fitting in there comfortably. And it still felt like I had a little bit of space. It didn't feel like I had completely packed it out. On the inside here, you do have a compression strap. And so you can bring this up to the top, cover everything, tighten it down. I just kind of left it down at the bottom since I had the packing cubes. You can see at the back here, you have the telescoping handle, and then kind of the little ridges created here that you can kind of pack around. And on the inside, you also have some additional zippered compartments, one on each side for any smaller items that you don't want getting lost. You can use it for medicines, other smaller toiletries, and things like that. And so, really like the layout that's provided here. Again, with the 34 liters of space. It can hold a good amount, but then you have the zipper along the exterior to give you that extra capacity if you're carrying extra stuff. If I had wanted to take an extra pair of shoes that was a little bit larger, I probably would have had to expand it, which I wouldn't maybe have to do with one of the 40-liter rollers that I normally use. And so, you just have the flexibility there. Again, 4x2 actually has a slightly larger one that is more in that 40-liter range. And so, it's great to have the different choices depending on what you're gonna be packing, which airline you're gonna be traveling with. So a really interesting layout here. It's a nice alternative to the roller bags that open up down the middle and give you kind of the dual compartments. Sometimes it feels easier to just have one large area to place items into. Now, one thing that I did notice is that you do have to open this up to access your stuff. So it would have been nice to maybe have the ability to still open this like a normal suitcase and have kind of both options. That would have been really cool to see. And I could see it being a little bit cumbersome each time to have to open this all the way up, open this zipper, particularly if you're using all of these pockets on the exterior for other things. It just might be something where it would be nice to have a better system to be able to get to this section without having to interrupt all of the other stuff. But I think that for certain types of packers, particularly people that aren't going to use these pockets as much as I normally don't, because I will probably have a day bag with me for those types of items, then this is going to offer a really simple, spacious layout that's going to be easy to pack. And if you're looking for a unique hardshell roller that's also going to have some great wheels and an interesting handle, then this will be a really cool option to consider. And so to wrap up, it's been a pretty great experience testing out the Tank carry-on roller bag over the past couple of weeks. You can currently purchase this on the company's site, and it's going to come in at around $315. I have seen the pricing for this type of luggage vary quite a bit. Sometimes it comes in at lower price points. I've seen much higher priced options as well, so it's really going to depend on what you're looking for. This does feel like it offers a solid build quality and a nice feature set, but there's going to be some other great options in this price range that may be worth considering. Tank carry-on roller bag holds up very well against all those options, and although some of the more unique features on this might not be for everyone, I think that this is a really solid carry-on friendly bag with very smooth working wheels, a solid build quality, and if you're looking for something unique and versatile, then this is going to be a really cool option to take a look at. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos, and we'll see you in the next one.